just wanna be happy. There's a lateral. Gets the third. Oh my God, the fourth. Oh my God, four. Round 8, the classic.
But the rest of her team is coming in from the back, and Padawan is just getting jumped on. Gonna slap that ult, and the Jinx dies. It doesn't matter what you do, the Syndra ult's just gonna kill you. Coming from behind! Oh, this is dirty! Let's go, Lakeland! Cleaning it up! There is nothing left! Oh, let's go! The soccer coming in, holding up points. Lakeland University wins! Let's go! Lakeland University wins grand finals!
Third pick.
Welcome back to the Fishbowl, ladies and gentlemen. Stream round 2 as it's Marvel Rivals' turn. Valorant was able to punch their ticket to the semifinals in a 2-0 win over the Trailblazers in the number 1 seed earlier today, and now we are coming back with a three-peat of a rematch with Cornell College, who we've played, I think it's 3 times in a month now, with tonight's matchup with them. One game going to a map 6 in a best of 5, and the other map going to map 5. So this should be an absolute stellar series from both teams. But this team has looked really strong through these last 2 rounds the last round of the Nationals tournament, and they've been putting in a lot of work. So we'll see if it pays off tonight. What are you looking forward to? Who are you watching? Who are you watching tonight?
Who am I watching? I'm thinking we see a big game out of tanks for Lakeland here between Yeti Hat and E.T. Han. E.T. Han had a slow series last week earlier this week.
Yeah, on Tuesday.
Yeah. So earlier this week, a little bit of struggles out of our tanks to start the series, but they were able to pick it up later in the games.
Yeah.
Closer to map 2, map 3, they got a lot better. And
Yep.
I'm hoping to see them come out strong, come out swinging like they had been previously up until this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've said it all season. I'll say it again this week. I think our sports gap everyone we've played.
Yeah.
And they play like they have been, we'll be all right.
Yeah, if they continue to play that way, and I think my person to watch, like you said, the tanks, specifically Yeti Hat, as because of our last matchup against this team.
Yeah.
That was the first time he had played the Rogue in any sort of comp play for with our roster here, and basically won us Game 5 with that pick. So I'm interested to see how he plays against another strong tank duo on the other side with Cornell. Forgetful being one of the best players on that side. Getting to know them pretty well, and definitely one of the playmakers over there at Cornell. So it'll be interesting to see between the two. But with what they've been working on, their communication sounds the best it ever had, or ever has this semester at least. So they continue that. I think they can get out of here and punch their ticket to the semis. So looks like we're going to be jumping into Agent Select and Pick Ban here as we see the pretty classic stuff coming out from teams playing Lakeland. Looks like we had opted to ban the Gambit and save Loki and the Punisher ban early. That's been something that W Boys has had a ton of success on in the last few games, and against Cornell the last 2 times we played them. So it's not surprising that comes out right away with a Daredevil save and a group ban so far.
Yeah, the big ban of Punisher off the rip. That's the first time I think we've seen a not Loki, not support target ban to start the game.
Yep.
It's kind of interesting because we haven't seen anything besides support bans against us the last few games.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see if Lakeland takes this map 1 and Witchings has his typical Loki game, if that Loki ban is the thing that comes out early. But I heard some deliberation between Strange and Mag, and it looks like the Strange was the pick. So I could almost guarantee there's going to be a Strange save or a Mag save here.
Yeah.
And it was an instant Mag save. That's one thing that the Muskies, I believe, later in the series, the last time they played Cornell, they started banning Mag, and it gave them some success. So they're going to test the waters here in Game 1 as it's either Forgetful or Fortnite fan. I can't remember which one plays the Strange, but he's a very good Strange player. So that's why they get rid of it against Cornell. We get the Hella save though. So W Boys loses one of his pocket picks, but he gets the other one. So
yeah, with the Hella save, you see Namor ban always.
Yep.
It's going to be. They don't want to give anyone the option for that team up.
Yep.
And yeah, seeing a Mag save. I mean, Mag's been like the difference maker in a lot of these series that we've seen
for the other team.
Yeah.
Against us, it hasn't been something that we really play around.
No.
I mean, we play it, but so many teams, it's a crutch for them.
Yeah,
right?
especially when W Boys has been playing on that Punisher,
Yep.
where Mag's able to eat the entirety of a Punisher ult and then throw it back at him.
Yeah.
Like it's
So we'll have to see
quite a bit.
if this is successful for the Muskies. They won't really change much. If they struggle, there's going to be a big change up in bans. I think because
Forgetful was the Daredevil main. That's what I was.
But last time we played in that game 5, that's when Yeti busted out that rogue and basically just tracked him all game long.
Yeah.
And didn't let him do anything. If the Muskies can do that again, it's not going to be a fun time, and he'll probably swap off that Daredevil very quickly.
Yeah.
But we're going to actually see a Sue Mantis coming out. So actually triple support with the Ultron as well. They just want to hard support this Daredevil with Bubble from Mag and 3 supports and a Mantis buff. Just allow him and the Thor to just wreak absolute havoc in the backline.
Yeah.
As we see a pretty standard team coming out of the Muskies. If you watch Rivals streams in the past, this is what you'll see from us. Sue, Loki backline.
I thought we were talking about the Venom Jeff start, so they can alt work to start the game.
But we're seeing Yeti on the
Deadpool.
that's actually been so useful for us in the playoff run into this Nationals tournament.
Yeah.
He's gotten so much value off of this. So we're going to have to see if he can continue to do that, or if the Muskies will have to change up how they are playing. But gates are down. Map 1 has begun in this best of 5 quarterfinals, Division 4 national bracket. Let's see who can punch their ticket to the semifinals.
Yeah, we see the Deadpool pull out from Yeti here. We've seen it a few times now, and it just ends up turning into, I'm going to play it like it's we see the whole Lakeland team get wiped right off the rip, but play it like it's a dive DPS and just cause havoc. But I do think we'll see significant swaps here.
Yeah, Loki fell early to the Daredevil, so they're actually going to swap to the Mantis to match, as well as getting W Boys onto that Ultron. So they are just going to mirror the triple support and see if they can play it better. Soren swapping over to that Elsa Bloodstone. That has also been a character that has been so crucial for the Muskies' success over the last 5 to 6 weeks at least. So Cornell caps point first, 20% and ticking. Let's see if the Muskies can find an angle in and and flip this map 1 back to them.
That's a very good team comp to counter that Daredevil pick. We see
Ultron 1.
All CC characters.
Yep.
With Mantis Sleep, Elsa's Trap, and Sue's push and pull. Like, it's just said anything. Daredevil's not going to have fun. I'm going to assume.
It looks like Cornell's doing a great job of playing so many different angles. It's making the Muskies really question where they're going to push forward. As 3 are going to fall, make that 4. Muskies on the back foot, 53% and counting. This is not the start you're looking for if you're a Lakeland fan. Cornell's off to a great start for them.
Yeah, and they're going to be significantly ahead in all ult charges, given that Lakeland had to swap. So
and no ults even used, I think, at all. Or no, Yeti did pop his last round. But
but it's a Deadpool. If he dies with it, he doesn't get it back.
No ults used at all this game so far outside of Yeti. So this is going to be a big fight here. So you're going to see a lot of ults being used most likely. W Boys is sitting on that Ultron ult. Can he make? And Soren finds the pick on Ultron early. Daredevil is going to pop that ultimate as well. Here comes Thor with his hammer. Can the Muskie support line keep their back line up through all of this damage? And it looks like they might be able to. Soren's going to pop that Elsa Bloodstone ult, and he gets 3. Can he find the kills? No, he falls to the Mantis before he can finish off those kills. The counter Sue is going to pop that ultimate, and no support ult to counter that either. 98% and counting. Overtime has been popped. It looks like Cornell is off to a great start and most likely will be taking this map 1 unless E.T. Han can find something here with this mag ball, or is he just going to save it for point 2 and they're going to play to try to force a point 3 here in game 1. And overtime will finish ticking away. Cornell with an early point, a very decisive early point there against the Muskies. Not much to be done for the Muskies there, as they just simply could not crack that triple support line from Cornell.
Yeah, they did a good job of countering the first two ults out of Cornell that I believe it was Daredevil and Thor that popped their ults first.
Yep.
With that,
They just couldn't find
Ultron, I can't think of his name. Ultron is able to just support his whole team through it. So that's a lot of healing. And that also just takes... Ultron has a very unique ult in this game where it's not necessarily used for damage or heal. It can be used for both, and it's good at both.
Yep.
So I was kind of disappointed to see that it had to be used as a last resort for health just because we didn't have any other support ults available.
3 ults up for Cornell coming into point 2 here as well.
Yeah.
So this could be dangerous for the Muskies. We've seen them have success in the past, and in the past, I mean on Tuesday, playing against triple support with triple tank.
Yeah.
That's something that they've turned to, that you're just going to say we can out tank your healing and damage. And
I would like to see Mag's ult could literally 1v3 the other ults on their team. I mean, outside of Mag, you're probably going to lose a teammate. But with an Ultron ult and Mantis ult, the insta-kills both of them through.
Yeah.
So
if he can find the Mantis after she ults and get rid of that right away, it could be the avenue the Muskies need to make a fight turn in their favor, as the point is going to be turned on as here come the ultimates. Couple ults are coming out already. Etihan gets an early pick, but it looks like Cornell still might have an advantage. Etihan does find the Ultron mid-air as well. Fortnite fan does take out Witchings. That's one support down for the Muskies. Yeti Hat will fall as well, and it's looking a little bit dire for the Muskies. Down goes W Boys, down goes Soren and Panda Tots, and again, Cornell wins another fight. The Muskies are just not being able to find the angles that they need, and they got to wake up here a little bit because Cornell has their number.
Yeah, Etihan was able to get the opening pick there, which should have been huge, and it just so happened to be that Mantis hadn't popped her ult yet when he used it. I think he used it just to eat Ultron's ult, and with the timer, Ultron's ult lasts significantly longer than Mag's, so he's able to find the one pick, but Lakeland's just not able to capitalize on any of it. As we see, we also saw Witchings on the Mantis ult, had 2 ults to keep her team alive after that, so...
Swap into the White Fox now to see if they can make anything happen. Here comes a huge Thor ultimate. It's going to provide a ton of pressure for Cornell, but the Muskies are able to outlive it, and Soren finds Forgetful. That's a huge pick. That's the 1 DPS that Cornell has down. This is an opportunity for the Muskies, but Fortnite fan finds Witchings. Oh, but there's Soren again finding a huge pick onto the Ultron. The Mantis ultimate is popped. They need Soren to get his ultimate here so he can try to change this fight. Yeti has his ultimate as well. It is going to get onto that Mantis, but she still has that ultimate up, and the Daredevil is already back with his ultimate. This could be dangerous again for the Muskies. W Boys pops his ultimate. They're just desperately trying to find any sort of angle that they can. Soren should be back here very shortly with his ultimate. Panda Tots finds Forgetful. This is again another opportunity for the Muskies. They just have to simply finish a fight. Gator fan pops her ultimate, but a little bit too late. Archie Max does fall. Advantage yet again to the Muskies. White Fox and Witchings doing whatever he can to stay alive. Soren finds the Sue with that ultimate. That's another support down for Cornell. Point finally over to the Muskies, 70%. It stops where it is for Cornell, and the Muskies are at 7% and counting. This is a good start if you're looking to even up this series 1-1 on this first map.
Yeah. If Lakeland can continue to stall here, it will be huge. Just buying time to recharge those ults, because we did use 3 to win that fight.
Yep, and they're going to be quite far away from getting another one outside of Mag for the next fight.
Yeti's ult could be very good here if it's placed correctly. He needs to throw it on someone like I'm guessing Mantis.
Oh, and here comes Forgetful. He's going to pop that ult and dive, but the Muskies just turn on him instantly and kill him. That's a huge blunder from Cornell, and the Muskies are going to have an advantage here. Etihan sitting on that Mag ball. Can he make something happen if one of these supports decides to pop that ultimate? The Muskies have so many low HP bars. It looks like Fett was dropping so incredibly low, but the triple support is able to keep him alive. But this is working okay for the Muskies because they are able to just charge their ultimates. He's going to try to find Fett, but he cannot, so that Ultron ult is going to come through, but Witchings counters with that White Fox ultimate of his own, and they are just creating so much space and keeping Cornell at bay. They're going to turn onto the Thor and try to find him, but the Mag Bubble's invested to keep him alive, and by golly, this triple support line is so hard to kill through if they can't find an advantage. Mantis ult is popped. Here comes Panda Tots to counter with her own as well. They just need to play for Soren's ult. If Soren can find his ultimate here in this fight, this could change the tides. Archie Max does find Witchings, though, so that's one support down. W Boys pops his ult to just desperately try to keep his team alive. Thor pops his ultimate to try to create any sort of pressure for his team. Gator fan follows suit, so it's going to be incredibly hard for the Muskies to find any picks here. 2 are going to fall for the Muskies. Yeti and Itihan, both of the tank line. Soren did finally get that ultimate, but he has to get out of here with his life, as here comes Cornell. They're going to try to apply so much pressure, and Forgetful finds 2. Fortnite fan finds another. The stagger could be detrimental here for Lakeland because, again, remember that Strange is banned, so no TP back to point here for either team. Oh, and this could be a massive Elsa Bloodstone ult as Soren finds, I think, 3. Fett is going to fall instantly. Can they find any more? So many low HP bars. Witching finds Gator fan. The Muskies are pushing forward. Happy Boy falls as well. Once again, Soren finds a huge angle with that Elsa and gets so much value. 99% in overtime ticked, but the Muskies recap 85 and counting. One final fight to see if we are going to head to map 2 or if the Muskies can force a point 3.
That was a huge Elsa bust, like you called out earlier. If someone gets his ult, Lakeland's able to make a push here, and he's able to catch 3, and Lakeland's just going to walk right past your tanks after that.
Yeah, and it looks like Lakeland might just be able to hold this point right here and now, and they do. No overtime touched as Forgetful falls, and the Muskies are going to force a point 3. That is a huge momentum shift for Lakeland.
Yeah, big boop on a Panda Tots there, able to just boop Daredevil back into the little hole he crawled out of.
Yep. And a pause initiated by Forgetful 69 as well. Maybe some sort of tech issues on their end. We will update you once we know. But maybe a game crash. But shout out to Cornell for pausing when they're supposed to. That is just why that is there in the first place.
Yeah,
so
sure would be a shame if we had any issues with that ever.
Yeah, we've had that pop up a couple times this year. We don't want that to pop up. We want to be able to just continue to compete in these series at a fair level. So we're gonna wait to see, get some intel on what Cornell is going through. We could only venture a guess a game crash, as Rivals tends to do that quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a new thing this week.
Yeah,
I've noticed.
We're gonna have to see, but the Muskies are able to even it up. Insanely close point 2, but they were able to find the right fights to force this point 3, and this is how this series has gone the last 2 times these teams have played. It is so back and forth. It is so one person gets punched and the other one punches right back.
Yeah, that's the first time. The first map, Lakeland just kind of struggled. They were just like poke tank, poke tank, poke tank, and that's all they were doing. We saw finally, like towards the end of that series, with the Elsa Bloodstone ult, just because of the space they created on the map. Lakeland just flew past the tanks, and that's kind of been what has been working for them, letting Yeti Hat fly forward on that Deadpool and just apply as much pressure to their supports as they can, because like we struggled with for a while with Daredevil diving our back line. We finally turned around and looked. They did not.
Well, and our supports have been doing a better job of playing what they call patty cake when they do get dove by a DPS or a tank, where their whole focus doesn't go to their team anymore. It's keeping each other alive. And that has been something that's really helped them stay alive longer in these fights, and maybe has been a reason as to why they're able to win some of these close fights.
Yeah, it's just a riveting watch every time you see one of those. You just see 2 healers staring at each other, throwing their heals back and forth.
And we're going to have to see what Yeti can do on this Deadpool, as he's going to have a couple upgrades coming into this point 3 now, so this could be a very strong Deadpool here for this last point. That is one of the advantages to playing the Deadpool from the first point and not swapping off of it, is you get those upgrades, and that's going to make Yeti so scary for this point 3. As Panda Tots finds Fortnite fan, as he just gets a little too aggressive and will die, and W Boys is just tracking this Daredevil, just telling him to get off that wall, and Yeti does finish that off. A great start for the Muskies. They already have point capped, and this looks like the Muskies of old with domination right now, being able to get to a point early and get as much percentage as possible right away.
This is the first time we've seen it. Like domination has been rough, to say the least. And for first time we're seeing back to like you said, Muskies of old. Domination has always been their go-to.
It's their bread and butter. As we're going to see some low health bars. Looks like we're going to have a couple ults come online here. Yeti Hat's going to look to probably try to find someone in that back line. I would imagine Panda Tots is going to invest that, especially through this Daredevil ultimate, and she does. Yeti gets that ultimate out as well, and the bomb comes down from Yeti. Witchings gets 1. W Boys follow suit. Panda Tots, the supports are going off. They have 3 as the Muskies have woken up. 38% and counting as they are able to force Cornell off the point yet again. 60% to go to pick up this first map 1.
Yeah, very, very well done to counter that Daredevil ult pair. Like you said, play patty cake once it happens, and Panda Tots had her ult, which was huge. So
a little easier to play patty cake with that third support as well. Makes it just a little bit less scary for Witchings and Panda Tots with W Boys over their shoulder, flying over this battlefield. We're still going to have 3 ultimates online, 2 Cornells, 4 for this fight, so still very winnable as the Mantis Hop is going to be ult popped early, and they're going to look for something, but looks like Soren is able to find a good angle with this Elsa Bloodstone ult. Can he find any kills with it? But he's getting so totally tracked by this Thor as Happy Boy does find Panda Tots. That's 1 support down for the Muskies, and it could be dangerous, but there's low health bars on the side of Cornell. Can they find any sort of picks? Are they going to be able to make something happen? W Boys pops the ultimate, going to try to make something happen for his squad. Archie Max is going to counter with his own mag bubble. Bubble is invested from E.T. Han. 3 are down for the Muskies, so they're just going to try to die on point and get as much percentage as possible, but Cornell hasn't capped yet. 92% and counting. That is such a good start for the Muskies. 94%. No strange. They have to win one more fight, and this map 1 is theirs.
Yeah, you see, Lakeland was trying to just kind of bait all the ults out of Cornell right there, and
yeah, I would have liked to see maybe W Boys save his ultimate for this fight.
Yeah.
But what they could do is just play for Witchings and Panda Tots to get theirs and then look for an angle, because you would venture a guess Cornell will use some ultimates to try to win this fight here and now. And there's still so much time for the Muskies to be able to. They're going to have two fights for sure, maybe even 3, depending on how long this first fight goes.
And I think we see a repeat where Ultron ult comes out, we see Mag go.
Yep. If they can find a pick on the DD or the Thor that have been so aggressive in the backline, that could spell victory for the Muskies. Yeti already has his ultimate up. He's going to look to try to use this as he does pop it onto the DD. He's going to look for something as Ultron does have that ult popped. Here comes Etion, and he finds 2 supports. That is massive for the Muskies. Can they keep their backline alive? As it looks like Witchings does fall. W Boys does find the kill on Forgetful, but Fortnite Fan trades it out. Just like we saw earlier in Valorant, the trade kills are coming left and right. Soren and Panda Tots band together and find Thor. Fett is going to fall as well. Here comes Witchings. He's trying to get back to the fight. They just have to keep their team alive. Gator Fan invests that Sue ultimate as Panda Tots is so close to hers. I would venture a guess she'll pop it instantly, and she does to counter as the Muskies just have to keep them off of the site so they can finish this map here. Now Soren pops the Elsa ultimate and finds 2. He finds 3. There's the angle for the Muskies to try to win this map 1 as they have recapped. Overtime has been popped. Forgetful is down. That is the Cornell carry, and the Muskies will take map 1 in this best of 5.
Yeah, Itihana with that mag ult had always been, I'm going to eat all of Ultron's ult as much as I can and throw it back at him.
Yep.
That time he ate Ultron's ult, turned and throw it at Sue and Mantis.
Yep.
And I'm sure they were both caught off guard just as I was when I saw it come in that direction. But hey, like we talked about before the game, who we wanted to see play well, the tanks.
Yep, and they did.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was a full team performance. We saw incredible ulti usage out of Soren. We saw the supports just doing work, keeping up their squad. Look at the healing compared to Cornell. The 6K, 8K, and 10K compared to 7, 15, and 14. Like you said, a support gap on the side of the Muskies, just playing better than their opponents, and E.T. Han finding and Yeti as well finding such opportune angles with their ultimates to win these fights. The Muskies took a little bit to wake up there after that first point, but they figured it out. They pick up map 1 and set themselves up great for this series to try to punch their ticket to the semifinals.
Yeah, I was glad to see Witching swap to that White Fox. I believe about halfway through map 2 is when we swapped to that, because we were playing Mantis for a while. We played Loki for maybe
one fight,
maybe 10 seconds.
He died from Deadpool and he said screw this.
And then swapped to Mantis then to White Fox. I like that pull a lot better just because like we said with Patty Cake, can't play Patty Cake with Mantis. Her I guess heal output is just continuous over time, which pairs kind of well with Ultron, but isn't quite enough, especially when you're trying to patty cake to keep your team alive.
Well, that was a great first map 1. We're going to hop to a quick break here as we wait for map 2 to load up, and we're going to be heading into Convergence, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with map 2. Welcome back to the Fishbowl. Waiting for Map 2 to begin in this
table.
best of 5 quarterfinals in Division 4 NECC National Bracket. The Muskies looking to punch their ticket to the semis. They're looking to pick up this Map 2 and force match point, while Cornell is looking to even up this series 1-1. If history repeats itself, we're going to see another Game 5 of this series, but we're all hoping for a Muskies 3-0 sweep. So it's all going to kind of depend on this Map 2 convergence, which has been a bane of existence between these two teams.
Yeah.
When they play this map, it just doesn't go well for either team. This is when we played them the first time, this is how we pushed to a Map 6 because both teams drew at the first point.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see how they play out this maps. It's further down the line. They're playing different comps. We're going to see what they can do, but a great comeback from the Muskies on Map 1.
Yeah. That was the first time. Usually we see the Muskies be a little bit stubborn on our swaps.
Yep.
That was the first time
They
we've
were quick.
we're swapping.
Yep, and it looks like pretty similar bans here. However, the Muskies weren't getting a ton of value out of Loki, so they said, fine, we'll save the Groot instead. That is one that Itihan is so comfortable on, and it's one that really helps enable this team. Very same bans and saves so far from Cornell. The Punisher, they don't want W Boys on that hero at all. The Daredevils saved as well, which I don't think the Muskies had a problem with it. They're okay to give that over to Cornell, I think. As the Deadpool gets banned, yet he finally gets his flowers from the other team. They did not want to deal with that Deadpool yet again. We'll see if the Muskies opt for the Strange ban again, or maybe they just get rid of Mag. But Itihan looked great on the Mag in that Map 1.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get rid of Mag after how that went. I think we see Strange again.
I would agree.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Lakeland save Hella just to force a Namor ban.
Yeah, and I wonder
which ends up being a waste anyways. But
wonder if we see a Ultron ban from Cornell, because it looks like they're hovering Adam Warlock.
Yeah,
and maybe they don't want the Muskies to get their hands on Ultron.
I won't be surprised to see Lakeland save Ultron here. Just because if we have to go to that triple support comp,
that's what W Boys is comfortable on. That's right. So we're gonna have to see what the save is coming out from Cornell. Some other things that they've really enjoyed playing, and we might see a rocket save here, but it is a mag save. They don't want that third mag ban, which that would be free for Lakeland if they don't save the mag there. It would be an instant mag ban. But probably gonna see a Namor ban here, maybe I'm not really sure
what
maybe
this
an Elsa
ban
Bloodstone
is.
ban. Possibly.
I would venture to guess this might be like a support of some sort.
It could be a support. It could be a Sue.
I think we might see a Sue ban.
I think we're gonna see a rocket out of the Muskies. I think that's what they don't want to play against. It is the Namor, so we are going to get our hands on the Elsa Bloodstone again, which has proven to be series winning for the Muskies so far.
I'm surprised they stuck with that Namor ban. I guess Hella made it through, so
Hella made it
you
through.
have to just get rid of that team up no matter what.
And the Muskies don't have to deal with Rocket yet again. They don't like dealing with that legend, or that hero rather. The respawns are just kind of really frustrating, especially if you can't find the beacon to kill it. It can just this team feasts off of picks. Yeah. They get one pick and then they hit the go button. But with Rocket, you get that pick and you get that player back instantly. It makes it incredibly tough for the Muskies to do what they want to do. So they are gonna. It's not first ban worthy, but if they can get their hands on a ban of it, 2 or 3, they absolutely will.
Yeah, we see a little bit of difference for our tanks here. We see Yeti hat on the mag, just because Itihan is so comfortable on that Groot.
And with the Deadpool ban, get Yeti on the mag. He has played incredibly well on this hero as well. So it's not just Itihan's pick. That is the luxury this team has, is both tanks can play the legend very well, or the hero. Sorry, I'm stuck in Apex. It's Ancient, it's Hero, it's Champion. Just pick one, can we please, and have it the same for every single game.
Yeah, we see Lakeland going 2-2-2 here, which...
We are going to go actually a pretty different team comp here. Etienne, I was surprised to see the Groot right away because he does play
Penny
the
is
on defense so much.
very good on this map.
And W Boys on that Moon Knight, because they have to come through such a huge choke point here. The Daredevil can get so much value if he gets a good Onk placement. So Witchings is going to start out on the Loki as well, and we're going to see almost an identical comp from Game 1 from the Cornell. Outside of Game 2, we're going to see White Fox.
Instead of Ultron, we're going to see White Fox.
They swapped. Gator Fan's not on Sue anymore. They kind of swapped up which support's playing which. But
no
the only
Ultron.
support out of there is no Ultron. It is going to be the White Fox, as huge changes from the Muskies here just based on the game mode that they're playing. So we see Soren with a huge pick onto Fett instantly. Gets a great off angle. And there's Thor again. This is how this Thor likes to play this hero. He just plays in the backline of Lakeland at all times, and sometimes to the detriment of his team. There's not a second tank up front being able to soak any sort of damage, and they're just relying on that triple support to be able to keep them up the whole time.
Yeah, it's not much you can do there as your thrower. If you get split off from your team like that, especially with Mantis down,
Yep.
your other two supports are playing off of each other.
Yep, and it looks like Cornell's going to opt for height here and try to push through the back, but Daredevil just dies. I don't know what he thought he was doing, but that's not something you can do in the face of the Muskies. W Boys is able to pick up that kill, and the map will change. That is something you have to watch out for on this map. On every single point, there is a time when the map will shift, as Yeti's just going to hold so much space here and tell Cornell, you better walk around the front door because you're not getting in through here, as the Muskies are doing a great job so far of holding this first point, but Soren does have to be careful. This Thor is holding height pretty well up here, and they are doing so much damage to this backline of Lakeland right now. Panda Tots and Witchings are just having to play patty cake, as here comes Daredevil and Thor. They're just going to try to hit the go button and kill the backline of the Muskies, but Soren turns around instantly. The Daredevil pays for it with his life. Fortnite fan follows suit, and the Muskies are playing so well right now around this dive. They're getting no value off the Deadpool or the Thor. They are playing so aggressive when it comes to diving the backline that Muskies just turn around and kill him.
Yeah, I mean, Soren's able to just get back to his supports. Supports are playing patty cake. Soren's in the middle doing damage. No one else on Lakeland had to turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Moon Knight's able to just keep facing forward and just getting so much value because the other two supports.
I would love to see him ult soon.
Yeah.
He's already charged it so fast. Use it and charge another one.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd imagine next time they dive, it comes out.
I would agree. But I will give a shout out to Coach Yoki, working with the Marvel Rivals team here. He's the one that taught them that patty cake with our support backline, and it has helped them immensely in these fights, and we've won so many fights because of it. Is there's the Moon Knight ult invested, or Yeti's going to try to find that ball, but he can't, as it does get blocked, and here come the support ults, and here comes the rest of the ults from Cornell. They want this fight here and now. Mantis with a mag ball, and they don't find anything yet. The White Fox ult is popped, but the Muskies are still alive, and they still have Panda Tots ult. This is the Muskies' fight to win as they find a pick, but Gator Fan does trade that onto Soren. Panda Tots trades it onto Fett, and the Muskies are still in the lead here in this fight in a man advantage. Can they find the crucial pick onto the Daredevil? If they find this Daredevil, this fight will be won for the Muskies. And they cannot pause mid-fight. This happened to us last series again, and this might cause them the map again.
You want to say something? Enforce the rule.
Well, I'm going to step away. I'm going to have to go talk with some NECC admins. But yet again, we get a pause during a fight.
Assuming we will go to break.
Technically against the rules. So we're going to go to a break, and we will come back at you guys with an update once we hear something. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Rats.
Every time we say goodbye, they all see that it's a lie. 'Cause we always give it one last try. Yeah, you've watched me break 1,000 times. Now I'm all alone, 'cause you never show. You say you will,
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of an update for you. The Muskies are going to take map 2. Once again, if you were here on Tuesday, Cornell initiated a pause during a fight, and per NECC rules, if you initiate a pause when you're in a fight or you even see another enemy on your screen, it is an automatic forfeit. At times, it can be a little harsh, but it is the rules, and it's a national bracket. We got to make sure all the teams are following the rules, and Cornell was really good about it. They said, all right, let's run map 3, so that's what we're going to do. So the Muskies are on match point now to send themselves to the semifinals. Or will Cornell force a map 4 here and make more of a series out of this? What are we going to see here? But a great start from the Muskies before that pause happened on that first map.
Yeah, it was a very good map we saw. Like, low-key, they're stomping for a second there.
And that's part of the reason why the rule's in place, right? Because there can be a competitive advantage. And unfortunately, Cornell was lagging, and that is something they have to deal with. And there's things that they can work around in the rules if you try to reach out and pause sooner, if you do different things like that. But the way it played out, the Muskies take map 2. So we'll be heading into map 3, and we'll see if the Muskies can replicate that success on the defense on the first point they had in the start of that map 2. And we see identical bands from map 2 heading into map 3, and I think it's going to be exactly the same heading into map 3.
No, new save. We see Namor.
I think it's going to be
I don't even remember who we saved.
Ultron.
We did save Ultron, but I bet we don't.
Namor save. But honestly, I would have just been fine seeing the Ultron save because it's been working.
Yeah.
Or even an Elsa save, right? You avoid maybe an Elsa ban here coming out. As Hella is going to be the ban that gets... So they don't want W Boys. They want W Boys on that Ultron. They don't want him on a DPS.
Yeah, they said no one you play. Everyone gone.
His Moon Knight was great in that last map, so that might be what he turns to. He can also play Bucky. He can play... Bucky, Moon Knight. I'm trying to think. He can play Daredevil. He does play Daredevil. There's options that he has for himself here. And identical bans coming out from the Muskies outside of swapping the Ultron save for Namor. And the Cornell opts for the Hella ban since Namor was saved. So we are going to be heading into map 3 match point to see if the second team of Muskies can send themselves to the semifinals in one night, or if we'll be seeing a map 4 coming up here. What can the Muskies pull out of their bag of tricks is we're going to see basically the same team comp outside of the Penny being swapped for Groot for this start of map 3. Because I think we're on... Oh, we are on defense, so he might actually swap back to that Penny. Who knows? Not as good of a Penny map here. Probably a much better Groot map, so I think he will stay on that Groot. And that will honestly work better with W Boys' Moon Knight anyway. If they're on like they were in a few series ago, I think it was actually even against Cornell, maybe I'm mistaken, but their combos were on point. So we're going to see if they can do anything with that. And on top of that, Soren can really combo his ultimate with the Groot ult too. If he can group them all up and just grab every single member of the team. Some weird comms coming from the stage.
Everyone's losing their mind right now.
Gates are open. Here we go. Muskies on match point. Let's see if they can send themselves to the semifinals as the teams are going to meet. The point is going to start to be pushed, and we are now in convoy, so it's not point capture and push. It is simply push the cart to the end or as far as you possibly can. Bubble will be invested on the side of Cornell. Runes are invested from the Muskies, but Gator Fan finds 2 early picks, and the Muskies have to try to hightail it out of here, but this could be dangerous. Witchings does fall. Soren follows suit. Yeti Hat will follow him as well, and a huge start here for Cornell. Yeah, they're probably not too happy about that map 2 ruling from the NECC, so they came out swinging, and boy, did they land a nice right hook there in that first fight. They're going to get almost half of this push instantly already with only less than a minute off the clock. Looks like Soren might try to take an off angle here, and W Boys will switch to that Ultron, so he didn't stay on that Moon Knight long. He's going to try to just opt to play here, but we're going to see a 1v1, but this isn't going to be fair. W Boys is just going to make this a 1v2, and Daredevil hightails out of there, but unfortunately, Etienne does fall to Fett, the Phoenix, on the side of Cornell, and looks like Cornell's finally back to a normal team comp, a 2-2-2 here with Fett going back over to DPS rather than triple support because it wasn't working in the first 2 maps for them. Yeti's going to try to touch here to make sure they can't get to point 1, but Soren is going to fall to Forgetful in that 1v1. Fortnite fan finds Yeti, and it looks like Cornell will be able to find this point 1 instantly. 5 minutes for Cornell to push to map or to point 2. This is a scary, scary start for the Muskies so far.
Boop.
As Daredevil is very, very deep, can they find the kills on him? But they can't. Fett follows up with a kill on Pandatot, so the patty cake goes bye-bye as Fortnite fan picks up E.T. Han, and the Muskies are on the back foot right now. What changes will be made for them to try to find any sort of footing here in this first point of map 3?
Yeah, I think we see Witching swap off of the Loki. Would be
Yeah.
my
I think
assumption.
he'll
He's going to
alt here.
alt and then swap.
I agree. I think he'll maybe the White Fox. Maybe Cloak and Dagger.
I
We
was
haven't
going to
seen a
say,
Cloak and
I
Dagger at
think
all.
he'll go Cloak.
And it works really well with the Groot as well, so we'll have
Yeah.
to really see.
This is a very
what
strong Cloak
happens.
map.
As who is he going to look for? Most likely Sue, but they can maybe even look for a combo here if they can
Yeah,
get
I was going to say, he might
an
copy
Elsa
Ultra on alt.
Or an
and-
Ultron alt would be huge as well. We're going to have to see what Witchings opts for. Here comes a mag bomb, and here comes DD as he's going to dive the backline. Witchings does pick up, I believe that is
Elsa.
ultimate, which it does find a kill. Forgetful does die. Soren's going to dive deep onto the mag. Can he find the kill? Bubble is invested. Soren is being kept alive forever as there's so many low health bars, and Phoenix and Luna do pop their ultimates. A huge ultimate coming up from Pandatots to keep the team alive, and we're going to see a Groot out follow up and only finds 1, but they do get the kill onto Fett. Gator fan follows suit with a Sue ultimate of their own, and here comes Yeti. Can he find the Sue? And it gets blocked by the terrain. Yeti finds no value with the mag bomb as the Muskies still have advantage in this fight. Runes invested from the Loki as Daredevil is back in the fight. They're going to turn their focus onto the Daredevil, but he will stay alive. Thor is back here again doing what he can to disrupt the Lakeland backline. But can they find these kills? Soren is going to throw his ult, but it gets blocked by a Groot wall and gets no value. There's so many ults being thrown from the Muskies, but nothing to be found as W Boys invest the Ultron ult as well. Let's see if the Muskies can bounce back from some of these blunders here in this fight. They are still holding Cornell at bay, but 3 minutes for Cornell to still push for this map too because they got such a good first push.
Yeah, we talked about Witchings possibly switching off that Loki.
Yeah, and W
I
Boys
think
falls.
I think W Boys is our swap here.
Yeah, you might be right. We are getting good value from
Yeah,
Witchings here.
and they're also playing a hit scan. Like that was how he was getting so much value
Yep.
on that. Ultron in the first couple maps, they had no hit scans. Their only DPS was Daredevil, and I guess their hit scan was
Yep,
Mantis.
We're gonna have Copy coming in here any minute now. The Muskies can try to make something happen here as they only have Thor ultimate. He's gonna copy Sue. Mag is gonna try to find him. Can they find the kill and take away the Sue ult? But Witchings is kept up by the Muskies. What a great play coming out as Pandatots gets her Sue ultimate of her own. Mag is stuck within. Oh, she pulls the Sue in. Can they find her? But she gets her ult off now. E.T. Han almost has that Groot ultimate. Can he find some value and keep the DD off his backline? But no, DD finds 2. He's going to be able to wipe out both Lakeland supports as W Boys falls as well. Will E.T. Han invest his ultimate to try to find something? He will not. Cornell will recap. They will take point 2 here and have over 3 minutes for their final push. So like you said, W Boys might be the swap here. Maybe we see his ultimate come out and then he swaps, but they did see some good value in that fight, so maybe not.
I'd like to see him ult early and make that choice,
Yeah,
as opposed to holding on to this for...
This is a hard push, especially against a Groot. He can get so much value, and the Elsa. There's just straight hallways that the Elsa can get so much value. As DD's going to dive the backline, but he will get out. They're not able to find, but Soren is on an angle. He does get booped down, and he will fall, but Yeti trades Fett, so it is an even fight. 5v5. Groot throws the ult. He does find the backline. Luna's going to ult to counter it. W Boys counters with an ult of his own. Pandatots will fall. Can they find any of these kills through the Luna ult? I don't think that they will. And Yeti does have that ultimate, but doesn't opt to try to find the mag ball to counter the ultimate hit for himself. The bubble will be invested onto the Groot. They're just doing what they can to stay alive as Soren does finally get his ultimate here. Can he find something here? Yeti's going to pop the ultimate. Can he find any of the supports? The mag is going to... And he throws it at the Sue, but does not find anything. Soren finds a pick. Witchings finds one of his own. So the Muskies are doing what they can to hold Cornell at bay. 2 minutes remaining on this push for Cornell as the Muskies finally find some footing here on this third push. Happy Boy does find a pick onto Yeti Hat. We're going to see a fight happen here now. Witchings and Soren sitting on their ultimates, and Panatat's getting dangerously close to hers as well. Here comes the Daredevil dive in the back line. This would be a huge pick if Lakeland can find it. Mag Bubble is invested, but here comes the Frog. Soren finds 3. That's a massive pick, and the Sioux invested her ultimate as well for not, as 3 members still die. Daredevil will invest his ultimate as well. Itihan is going to fall, but Daredevil gets traded out. The Muskies have the advantage yet again. 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining from the Muskies getting a hold here at point 3 and then getting their chance at their push to try to send themselves to the semifinals. But 3 ultimates make that almost 4 online for the side of Cornell. The Muskies have to play this next fight perfectly if they want to get a full hold here at point 3. 3 ultimates, and all 3 of them being support ults here for the Muskies, as looks like Cornell only has 1 support ult on their side, being Luna. Here comes the White Fox ult, and it's going to get a ton of value, but Witchings might just fall. He does not. The Fox just gets killed, and he does retreat. Luna ultimate is popped, and here comes Cornell. They're going to try to make something happen. Here comes the Mag Bomb, as Panatats tries to get to safety, and she will. Soren is going to fall. Panatats follows suit. Here comes the Thor ultimate. He might get so much value out of this. ETN finds 1. W Boys finds 2! The Muskies are still in this, and Yeti is just punching away. He finds Fett, and there's only 2 members remaining here for Cornell. Fortnite fan trades it onto Itihan. Yeti is still alive. Panatats has to keep him up, but she can't. Daredevil will invest that ultimate. Panatats finds Thor, though. They just have to kill the Daredevil. He does kill the Witchings. W-Boy's doing what he can to keep Panatats up, but she will fall. W-Boys most likely will follow suit. Soren will fall as well. Itihan doing what he can to get onto point. Yeti is going to follow, but there's such long death timers. I don't think the Muskies are going to get here in time, and Cornell gets their full push to 3 points with overtime committed.
Yeah, I just saw a little bit of communication lacking from the side of Lakeland there. We saw all 3 of our Wincon ults pop at the exact same time. We saw Fang, Groot, and Ultron ult all at the exact same time. So I did like seeing Yeti Hat switch to the Thing towards the end there, just for that CC of. And
it was working.
Yeah, it was. Able to just kind of counter that Daredevil when he's diving your backline. You can just jump back to him, and that stun was enough to slow him down a decent amount. So.
Yeah, and although Cornell did get that 3-point push, the Muskies are still in it. They can get a 3-point push of their own, and that was such a good bounce back from them after kind of getting rolled for point 1.
Yeah.
Or not kind of, they did get rolled point 1, and then kind of got rolled point 2. They did a little bit better standing on their head, and then point 3 stood on their head for as long as they possibly could, but unfortunately bad ult usage towards the end cost them that point. But the Muskies can still force overtime. If they can push with time remaining, it'll be very advantageous for them heading into overtime. But the biggest thing is them finding this push, and we're going to see the Itihan, Hulk, and Soren on the Wolverine. This is something that they've been practicing, something that some of the team members here have been asking for. Can Soren pull this off and pull out another pocket pick that could secure the Muskies a series win and send them to the semis? Or will we see a map 4 coming up next? We're going to have to find out as the gates are open.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to find this Thor overextended is what the goal here with this is.
They're going to find the Daredevil, actually, as he's going to try to find this kill, but there's no healers to see. Soren, he has overheal, but he's not going to be able to live that long. Bubble's invested, and he is going to get back to the team. Let's see if they can find some sort of value here, as we haven't seen Itihan or Soren play the Hulk or the Wolverine in any sort of comp play all season long. So this is a new pick for this team that they've been practicing for this exact matchup, and let's see if they can make something happen. Bubble invested as well right at the last second to keep the Wolverine alive, as Yeti has been on point with those bubbles so far. Ruins are invested as well to try to keep the team up here, as the Wolf is just doing what he can to charge his ultimate. Once he has that ultimate, just find a huge backline push there for his team. He's trying to find any sort of captures he can. Maybe try to find the Mag. Maybe try to find the Thor. As here comes Daredevil, he's going to try to dive into the backline with Runes down, and he looks like he's going to be able to find 2. Fett finds 1. Forgetful finds 2 in the backline. Gator Fan finds Yeti Hat, and the Muskies are on the back foot.
Yeah, I think we see.
We see a stagger coming out here from the side of Cornell. Etihan will fall, so the Muskies have to wait a few more seconds to get their second tank alive. Soren's going to make that swap back to Elsa. It just wasn't quite working. Maybe they're not as practiced as they want to be on that combo, or maybe Cornell has practice against that combo. Who knows? But they weren't seeing success, so we're going to have to see what the Muskies can do now. Going back to the bread and butter that's worked in Map 1 and Map 2. We're coming up on a lot of ultimates here for the Muskies, but same goes for Cornell, so we're going to see a huge fight coming up here, I think. And Yeti Hat's going to get pulled in by the Thor. Witchings has to invest runes just to keep himself alive, and that's what the Daredevil's looking for. He's going to try to look to find those supports in a disadvantageous spot, but Witchings will copy the Sue. He's going to counter that Sue ultimate. W Boys finds Gator Fan. The supports on Lakeland are just finding these kills to finish off the members of Cornell. Bubbles invested. Groot is just going so deep to try to find the Thor, and he does. No tank game around these parts as Etihan drops that Thor, and the Muskies are looking to capture this first point here and extend their timer to try to see if they can force overtime in Map 3. And it looks like Cornell might just give this point, and they do. A wall comes out to just ensure that doesn't happen. Etihan finds Daredevil as well. Numbers advantage for the Muskies. Let's see if they take this space and take this advantage for ultimates so they can try to make something happen. The Frog is invested, and it's just going to throw Mag off the map. That works too, as one goes down for Cornell. The Muskies are able to take so much space off of this, and they still have 3 ultimates in their back pocket. 4 ultimates, however, for the side of Cornell. They have to play this perfectly if they want to win this fight, as the Daredevil is going to be a problem if they're not able to track him in this backline. Etihan falling incredibly low. He is way too far forward. Bubble is invested, but he's still incredibly low. His supports have to find him, but they can't because the Daredevil's in the backline, causing so much disruption. Yeti's just trying to keep his friend alive as long as he can. Bubble invested to keep himself alive, but Groot finds a huge backline ultimate. Here comes Yeti. Boom! Finds the Luna. That's the support ult down. The Phoenix invests her ultimate to try to turn this fight in Cornell's favor, but W Boys and Panatot still sitting on their ultimates to try to continue this Lakeland push. W Boys does fall. He doesn't try to fall down to his supports, and he pays the price with his life. The Muskies still, however, can continue this push. They do have Panatot's ultimate, and she will invest it now. Rune's invested as well. That was maybe a bit of overkill to try to stop the Daredevil here, but it will counter the Daredevil out. They have to be careful of the counter Thor ultimate after this, though. They have nothing to counter this Thor ult until W Boys is back. W Boys is finally back. Daredevil in the backline. They can't focus him this hard. They have to turn and try to push Cart because he's not doing anything but pulling attention away if they're looking at him for that long, as they're going to try to make something happen here, possibly with Ultron ultimate, and it is popped. Sue ult is going to be popped to counter. And Fortnite fan, but Happy Boys finds W Boys. He was flying way too high, bit off more than he can chew, and he does fall in the middle of his ultimate. That's just unfortunate. Yeti Hat falls as well to Fortnite fan. 2 minutes remaining. Cornell stands on their head towards this point 2 and sends the Muskies back to the respawn unit. The Muskies looking to continue with this same team comp. They're going to continue to push forward here, but Cornell doing everything in their power to just keep them at bay. Look at how much space Cornell is creating for themselves, just not allowing the Muskies to move forward whatsoever. Witchings is getting chunked. He's getting taken incredibly low, but we are going to be coming up on almost 4 ultimates for the side of Lakeland. They can try to make something happen. Let's see if Soren can find one of those classic Soren angles where he's been able to make such big plays for his team. Etihan's going to invest the Groot ultimate. Does it find any value? The Mag Ball is invested, but Etihan blocks it, and here's that ultimate I was talking about. 5 fall for Cornell. Soren shows up yet again. The senior wants to head to the semis as they're going to continue to push this point to try to cap point 2 and gives themselves a chance to force overtime.
Nice one. Oh my God, they're double down.
And a huge stagger coming out here from the Muskies as well, able to take out Daredevil, forcing him to the respawn room of the 3rd point rather than the one right up here in the corner. Can the Muskies look to change and turn this game on their head? It looks like they might be going for a swap possibly, as everyone's running back to respawn instead of opting to stay on Cart. Yeti is at 92% for his Mag Ball. I really don't want to see him swap here. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're waiting for the entire team. oh, we had a game crash, so Etihan is going to die. No one is in a fight, and now they will pause. That is how you're supposed to do it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get an update for you guys once we know, and we will let you guys. We will keep you guys updated on whatever's going on the stage. What have you seen so far, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how swaps needed to happen. We saw almost instantly again swapping from Hulk, Wolverine back to just the Groot, Elsa, which has been
Successful.
Etihan and Soren's go-to.
Yep.
W-Boy's still on that Ultron. He's just kind of he is getting value, but I don't think he's getting.
Too far in the open.
I don't think he's getting as much value as you would hope for a third support, especially when they do have one, I guess, two if you count Luna Snow, 2 hit scans, where Witchings isn't able to patty cake. It's not as easy to patty cake on Loki as it would be for like a White Fox. So, I mean, I think that White Fox was a big factor in the first 2 maps.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would have liked to see him stay on that, but I mean,
Witchings is
still pushing
doing
forward.
Well
Yeah, it is working
on the Loki this game, and it is working. And one thing I will say, a little counterpoint to that is they might not live through all this damage that Cornell's throwing at them without the triple support and the
I don't think triple support is the bad,
but maybe
here,
switch up the
but
supports.
maybe what supports where.
Yeah, but they are on to point 3 now. They're going to have, I believe, around 2.5, maybe 3 minutes for this push.
Yeah, I think we're just over 2 minutes.
Yeah, so we're going to have to make something happen. They have to win the initial fight if they want a chance at pushing this all the way and forcing overtime.
Yeah, we will be significantly behind in ults. By the time this comes back up, they will have Luna Snow ult as well.
Yeah, they're going to be on Daredevil pretty soon.
Yeah, one tank, 1 DPS, 1 support ult. It's going to be
Muskies have to do what they can to just poke for a while and try to charge those support ults. If they can get Panda Tots, if they can get W Boys, they can live through that damage and possibly push forward and wait for that Soren Etihan combo. But we're gonna have to see if Yeti. I think the key to watch here, people, is watch Yeti on this mag. If he finds a key ultimate on the Luna to counter that ult, or if he finds a key ult to kill the Sue once she ults, that could be series winning for the Muskies here if they're able to find that. So all the Muskies can pray for now is forcing overtime and then trying to win the map there, or we will see a map 4. We're gonna have to see what they can do when we get out of this tech pause. Each team is granted 3 5-minute tech pauses throughout a game. So 15 minutes total. You can use it all in one go if you need to. So we did get word Etihan's game did crash, so that's why you did see him just standing there dying to Cornell. And so they waited till he died. The rest of the team ran to spawn. They initiated the pause, and then they're going to wait for Etihan to reconnect so he can get back into the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the
and it looks like we are back into the game. Etihan must be raring and ready to go, and the Muskies are ready as well. Point 3, they have 1 minute and 45 seconds to make this push, but Cornell has the advantage with the ultimates, and they have the advantage with this being the hardest push of the map. Yeah. So they had the time advantage when they got here. They had almost over 4 minutes when they pushed, maybe a little under. The Muskies have significantly less time. We do see Soren swapping onto that Namor because it is such close quarters as Panda does find the Daredevil right away. This is advantageous for the Muskies, and they make something happen here as Mag is falling incredibly low. The bubble is going to be invested, and here comes the Suult. Can Yeti find her? He's going to find damage onto the Luna Snow, I think that was, but doesn't find the kill. They're going to try to kill the Phoenix ult, but it does land anyway. W-Boys does have his ultimate. Etihan and Soren are getting close to theirs. Will W-Boys be enough to keep them up? Thor and Luna are ulting, and they're going to find some kills here. They at least get those that util off from Cornell, but this looks like a pretty lost fight here for the Muskies.
Yeah, I think it's just
Reset,
regroup,
re-go. 50 seconds remaining. Like we said, the best case scenario for them is forcing overtime here. They're only going to have 45 seconds, and they likely have to win 2, even 3 fights because of how close the spawn is. So this is looking very, very dire for the Muskies, but it's not impossible. They just have to find some sort of angle. They're going to have the Etihan Soren combo very shortly as Soren is now sitting on that whale. Can they find any sort of angle? I would like to see them find a pick and push first, but that might not be a luxury that they can afford to wait for, as here comes the enemy mag ultimate. Witchings is going to match with a Sue ultimate of his own to try to keep the team alive, and he does. Thor's going to retreat back to his team, and Daredevil's just stopping the cart. He's going to be in the backline, creating so much pressure on the Muskies as Etihan tries to find the pick. He just can't find that last shot, and Daredevil's still going to be back there. They have to worry about him. Here come the Muskies. A huge Grudal coming out, and here comes the whale. Finds 5! Soren finds the angle. Etihan finds the ult, and here come the Muskies. 6 seconds on that whole team. The Daredevil, the only one up. Can the Muskies find the point now? They're going to have to win one more fight because Cornell is alive. Let's see if the Muskies can force this overtime. Here comes the Sue ultimate. Daredevil's going to have his as well. It's going to be very tough for them. Overtime has been ticked. 2 are down for the Muskies. Make that 3. They found their angle, but they simply didn't have enough time. Cornell will pick up map 3, and we are going to be heading to a map 4.
Yeah, it was crazy. I would have liked to see, I mean, you're able to kill the whole team. I'd have liked to see that Groot all be saved for at least a little bit longer.
Or
just
maybe not even comboing that, looking for the kills. They didn't have a support ult, just looking for the kills through the Groot ult and maybe saving that whale when they come out of spawn. But that's so hard to know in the moment. You see that combo, you see the ability to get that kill, and you know
you had one more team fight. You would have liked to see it, but
So we will be heading to a map 4. Match point still in favor of the Muskies. A great map coming out of Cornell, but the Muskies showed a ton of fight. They got punched in the mouth on their defense, but they were able to almost force the overtime there, so nothing to hang their heads about as we head into map 4, back to domination, where the Muskies were able to pick up their first map win. They could end it here and now and punch their ticket to the semifinals, or will Cornell force yet another map 5 in this 3rd series we've played against them already this year? But stay tuned for map 4. We will be right back when both teams are ready.
falling in quickly. Tell me you feel something too. Caught in the moment, I'm lost here without you. Tangled up in your web, holding on to every word you said. I'm ready, you know, I'm open to show. Would you say the same? We're falling from outer space. We're moving like a full-page supernova. We're making all the headlines now, and I just wanna seize the moment, 'cause we won't ever slow it down. Kissing in the rain, tastes just like champagne. Falling every day, we're falling from outer space. Hoping time will change, got love on my brain. Would you say the same? We're falling from outer space. 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 Falling in quickly. Tell me you feel.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Fishbowl. Map 4 in this quarterfinals Division 4 NECC National Bracket, heading back into domination. And what are we going to see coming out from pick bands? We do have the teams swapped, so you're going to have to change that as well. Gambit banned. Ultron saved early for the Muskies. Strange banned second. Looks like a punny ban. A Daredevil save again. An Elsa ban. There's a change finally.
Yeah.
Coming out from Cornell. Mag save. Maybe there's a mag ban coming if there's a possible map 5. Hopefully the Muskies can close it out here and win this map 4. I think maybe we'll see a Deadpool save here from the Muskies.
Yeah, I don't think we see a mag ban no matter what.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a Deadpool save. That's something they were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeti has been so comfortable on it, and he's created so much pressure for his team. There it is. They don't want Cornell getting rid of that, so they will get their hands on that Deadpool and that Ultron. I think they just feel like this comp is working, so they're going to keep running it.
Yeah, I don't think
Without the Elsa, I don't. Do they run the Phoenix with it? I don't know what has enough damage to run with it.
I would assume Phoenix.
Maybe
There's
Psylocke.
also a chance we see. Yeah, I was gonna say that's Psylocke.
I think if it's a Psylocke, though, they might run 2-2-2. I don't know if they can run triple with Psylocke.
No, they won't run triple.
And the Namor band. So Groot is available. Deadpool's online. Mag is online. So many tanks ready and available. A lot of supports ready and available as well. The Loki gets through without a save or a ban. I think the first time in Lakeland history.
Yeah.
So I know Witchings is cheesing from cheek to cheek up there on the stage. But it looks like he is going to start with the White Fox. Looks like he will start on that White Fox. W Boys is going to start on that Ultron. Panda Tots on the Luna. So this is something that they were talking about during the break. They were struggling because the Phoenix on Cornell was just constantly snowflaked from the Luna. So anyone trying to 1v1 or winning fights was just simply not doing it. Because for those of you at home that don't know, Luna has an ability where you place a snowflake on someone and they get increased damage. From that member, so looks like we might match that to make sure that our DPS can keep on par with the side of Cornell and Phoenix. And the Muskie Rivals team is breaking it down yet again, undefeated when they do this, so hopefully they can close this out here and send themselves to the semifinals. Or will Cornell force a third map 5 of the semester?
Yeah, I think we see. Yeah, we do see the Psylocke. This is an interesting choice from the side of Lakeland, especially with that Ultron. Psylocke does not have a lot of damage output, so
yeah, they must feel like maybe they have enough damage from the White Fox and the Ultron together, maybe. But
yeah, Ultron does get.
And Luna does have decent damage too. But we're gonna have to see what the Muskies can do here. A little bit of an odd team comp. I don't think they've maybe ran this very much, but they're gonna try to make something happen. The Muskies are to point first. Looks like Panda Tots is frozen, and she stays frozen as the Muskies are going to try to push forward here. The Daredevil playing height, trying to play behind the Muskies. Looks like they're trying to find any sort of angle as Itihan is in a bit of trouble. He is in the middle of the Cornell squad, and Fortnite Fan will find that kill on him first. Soren is on the back line. He's trying to find this pick onto the Luna, but he just can't quite find the damage. Witchings trades it onto the Daredevil and is able to stay alive. Patty Cake activated for the Muskies, but during that, Cornell is able to cap, so that is a death well spent if you are Cornell and that Daredevil, as the Muskies will be on the back foot here first. 9% and counting for Cornell. The Muskies are just looking for any sort of angle here. Yeti was looking for an ultimate there, but he does get canceled and dies for that as Fortnite Fan finds a kill as well. And I don't think, have we seen Fortnite Fan play a different hero all series, or has he played Thor the whole time?
I think he's played Thor the whole time. Yeah, him and Forgetful have not swapped.
Yep, so point 1 was captured by Cornell, almost to 35% here already, but we're coming up on a lot of ultimates here for both teams. We're going to see who can have better ult usage and who can win this first real initial fight, as Cornell is already off to a great start as Fett finds a insane angle and picks 2. Fortnite Fan picks up another. That makes that 3. And again, just like map 1, the Muskies are on the absolute back foot here in point 1. They have to make a swap with this team comp. It's not working.
Yeah, like we talked about with just the Psylocke just not having.
Yeah, there's just no value, especially into the triple support, or that's not even triple support, but it's just with no other sustainable damage from the side of the Muskies. There's not enough for him to find those picks. Right?
I do like the swap to thing to play into this comp though. Just playing a triple divey type
but
characters.
3 ults on the side of Cornell and nothing to on the side of the Muskies. And again, another pick early. Yeti's going to fall in so much damage coming out from Cornell. The Muskies have to make a change now. 90% and counting. The Muskies might just lose .1 here and now.
As say, need a touch here.
Yep, and it looks like the Muskies are just going to give over .1, and they're going to have to repeat of map 1 and take .2 and then take .3 to send it to semis. But that looked like one of the most clinical points that we've seen out of Cornell in all 3 series we've played.
Yeah, it was the first time we've seen a team ban 3 DPS.
Yeah. On the Muskies, and it's kind of proving to be fruitful.
It's forcing them to play people they haven't played.
Yep.
I mean, the only other DPS we played is Psylocke, and just not enough damage output here.
5 ultimates online for Cornell, and W-Boy's still sitting on that Ultron. I really think they need to swap off of this triple support, and they need... Loki is open. Play the Loki into the Phoenix. Try to do something to counter this thing. Try to match the Phoenix maybe. I'm not sure. I don't play the game as much as they do, but it just doesn't seem like this is working so far.
Yeah, I mean... If you're going to play trip support, you need to have a high damage output DPS.
Yeah, and
that's why trip support works well with like Punisher or Moon Knight.
Maybe off this ultimate, if it doesn't work, he will swap to Phoenix. We're going to have to see.
Yeah, I would like to see. I think Phoenix works fine.
Maybe even an Iron Man just to deal with this, some sort, or a Storm, some sort of flyer that can play with Ultron and deal so much pressure from height. But again, Cornell's hitting their shots too. A lot of the times when W-Boys is making himself,
it's the downfall of Ultron. He's so slow.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Outside
and here
of his
comes Witchings
dash.
with the White Fox ultimate, but there's 2 dead already for the side of Lakeland. There's just not any value as Soren does find 1 onto Happy Boy, but there's already 2 dead, and Cornell's already onto point as well. Sue Ultimate invested, and Soren's going to be in a world of hurt here with little to no help from the rest of his team as Archie Max finds 2, Forgetful finds a 3rd, and there needs to be some sort of swap here coming out of the Muskies if they want to bring themselves back here in this map 4. And it sounds like from the comms we are hearing, we are going to get that swap we've been desperately asking for. It looks like the Loki is going to be swapped in for that White Fox. Bucky swapped in for the Ultron. We're going to have Soren swapping onto that Phoenix, trying to match some of that potential from the enemy Phoenix. But still, again, Cornell won that fight, and they still have 4 ultimates. This is going to be so hard for the Muskies, especially after a swap. They only have Panda Tot's ultimate to keep them alive. They are going to have to really find a huge angle here to win this. 31% and counting. Cornell has their foot on the gas, and they don't look like they want to stop anytime soon. Etion has to invest the bubble, and runes are invested already. No ultimates popped yet for Cornell, but the Muskies are starting to slowly charge theirs of their own, so if they can get some of their ultimates online, maybe there is something to happen here in this fight for them to take this point. Yeti is sitting on that Deadpool ult. Can he find a backline carry? Can he find a support to pop this on and create some pressure here? Soren falls low, and he's just going to die. No ultimates. He just dies from just actual damage. This is just so detrimental for the Muskies. And again, remember, no Strange. Here comes the Mag Ball onto Panda Tots to try to take her out. She does live. Here comes the counter Luna ult, a counter Phoenix ult. This is going to be very dangerous for the Muskies. Etion's going to pop an ultimate of his own. Can he find the Luna? He finds 1. Fett, however, did find 2. There's only 2 Muskies remaining. And again, the Muskies will fall. 3 ultimates still online for Cornell. And this looks like an absolute wipe of the Muskies here in map 4. 87% and counting. Can the Muskies make something happen? They have to touch now. They have to find an angle. W-Boys is going to look for an ultimate in the back line as it's just going to get countered by a Sue ult right as he goes in. I don't really know what he was thinking there. Soren does find the trade kill onto the Thor. Overtime is popped. If the Muskies don't win this fight, we're heading to another map 5. What can they do? Yeti does find a kill. Here comes Soren. He finds 2 in the back line. That might be the opening the Muskies need, but the Daredevil has his ultimate popped. Can he find the kills? Mag Bubble is invested. He will fall. The Muskies will find the cap. Finally, 99% for Cornell. Now the Muskies have to win outright for the rest of these fights to force a .3.
Yeah. It's for some we've seen more of a divey tank, like Venom, Cap, or even Thor. It's the first time we've seen that for the side of Lakeland. I think this is going to be the difference they needed here, is just kind of forcing them forcing someone on the side of Cornell to peel for his supports.
Tihan did not have swing there, and he went in, and he's dangerously low. He does not have his E either. He needs to be careful. He's taking way too much damage here, as Fortnite Fan will be the only one with his ultimate, and everyone else is around the same, charging theirs up. The Muskies cannot lose a fight here. If they lose a fight, they lose the game. And here comes the Thor ult. It's going to be on the back line. There's going to be nothing to counter this outside of Ruins. And down goes Panda Tots. This is not good for the Muskies. W-Boys will fall as well. Yeti finds one, but Witchings follows suit. That's no supports for the Muskies. Yeti's going to fall. Itihan will as well. And this map will most likely go over to Cornell, and we will be heading to a map 5. Ladies and gentlemen, a third map 5 of the semester against the same team. It was written in the script from the start. You couldn't have expected another outcome. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Winner takes all. Winner goes to the semifinals. Who wants it more? We see Fett with the MVP, and rightfully so. He did so much for his team that game, just finding so many picks, and he's getting so much value off of this Phoenix. When they swapped off of the triple support to him on Phoenix, they've seen nothing but success since then. So maybe that's something the Muskies have to turn their attention to, and getting rid of that from the side of Cornell. But we'll have to wait and see. It is down to a best of 1. Game 5 yet again. Muskies versus Cornell. Who's going to the semis and who is going to the third place game? Let's see what happens when we get back for map 5. We will see you guys very shortly. Stay tuned.
Brett, the loser's out.
Happier tonight. Kept me waiting for you in the morning. Don't leave without giving a warning. Don't leave without giving a happier. Every time say goodbye. We all know that it's a
Welcome back to the
Dude,
fishbowl,
we're not going
ladies and
straight in.
gentlemen. Where else would you rather be but a map 5 against Cornell? It feels like Groundhog's Day in here. Third map 5 in less than a month with this team. The Muskies have bested them the last 2. Let's make it a clean 3-0 sweep in these best of 5s here. Winner takes all. Loser goes home. We'll see what the Muskies can do. I think at this point, these teams are so close. Pick ban isn't going to decide it. It's going to be who wants this more and who is playing better.
Might as well just shut Pick ban off this game, honestly.
We're going to have to see which team can figure it out here for map 5. Cornell has the momentum, but Lakeland has the experience. How many map 5s has this team gone to all semester?
87.
More than we can count.
You know,
right?
I'm going to put my bet down right now. We go to map 6.
And we do see a little bit of a change. The Elsa Bloodstone saved first rather than what was our first save the whole time? Were we saving Ultron first?
Last game we did, we had been saving a tank.
I like seeing the Elsa save first, just allowing Soren to get on that character because we've been getting so much value from the Elsa. He's been finding those angles where he can just flip a fight like that because that ult is so strong.
Especially the damage output on Elsa compared to other DPSs we'd been seeing, like the Psylocke or anything else. Like Elsa's one that you can clearly play with triple support. So
and it is quite literally his most played DPS at this point right now. At least
it's like a cue ball Punisher, you know. In
the last 3 to 4 weeks, he's been putting so much time into this character. We're gonna see the Namor ban coming out second, so that's a little bit of a change up from Cornell as well. They aren't going to take away. I believe the second ban they were taking away a tank. I think maybe
they've just been alternating. Yeah,
the mag is going to be the save. What will Lakeland save here? I really honestly don't know.
I would assume.
Who?
Deadpool.
Deadpool. It could be the Deadpool here.
I think we see tank pool save.
And I think we will see, I'm guessing a Phoenix ban here coming out from Lakeland because the Phoenix on the side of Cornell, and it is an Ultron save. I don't know how I feel about that. But they do have the Elsa, so maybe they feel strongly because they did win 2 maps with the Elsa and the Ultron combo. So let's see if we see a Phoenix ban. I do think we will because the Phoenix has just been a thorn in their side in the 2 maps that they've lost to Cornell. So let's see what they want to change here, if they want to find something. And
Phoenix ban, I think we see a tank pool ban right here would
likely
send me over the moon, but I don't know. Honestly,
we could also see a Loki ban possibly.
I don't think they ban a sport. I think it's going to be a tank. It's just up in the air if they ban that Groot because Groot has been the pain in their side for most of the series.
Yes, it has. So we're gonna see what the last ban is, and it will be a Groot. So
my mind is just so massive.
Two tanks off the board, 3 DPS off the board, and we're gonna see what Lakeland has left in the tank. They have been in this position time and time again. Will experience trounce momentum. We're going to have to see who wants it more in this best of 5. Win or go home. Can the Muskies punch their ticket to the semifinals, or will their season end here tonight? 4 seniors on this roster. I know they don't want to be done playing. I know that they want this just as much as anybody else. So we're going to have to see how far they can dig within themselves to find this series win here, as we are going to be waiting for gates to drop in about 40 seconds. Looks like the Muskies are on attack first.
And here we go. True Lakeland fashion, we are ready.
Go out the way you want, right?
Yep. More of the same.
As I think we're going to see almost an identical team comp that we have the entire series so far coming out from Lakeland here. We're going to see Yeti on that tank pool. We're going to see E.T. Han on the Mag. We're going to see W Boys on the Ultron. Soren on that Elsa, and Witching's most likely either on White Fox, Loki,
I would assume White Fox,
Mantis.
but
he's going to start with Mantis, and I don't know how I feel about this. The Mantis hasn't really worked well for us so far, but I guess starting on it isn't a worst thing in the world. But again, it's going to be Fett. He's gonna match the Elsa, and he's gonna have the Luna Snowflake. That might be something Lakeland has to switch to in triple support. They need the Snowflake, otherwise they might just be able to do damage.
They do have Luna.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Snowflake is on W Boys, which I do like.
Yeah.
You put
and
Ultron heal on
W
your
Boys
support.
might just fall. He can't be 1v2ing a Thor and a DPS on height. That's something that he needs to get out of his head. He's not playing DPS right now. He is going to be doing damage to them, but he has to stay alive. He can't fall early, and he has to kind of change how he's going to play. But Panatats will fall because I believe Bubble was not invested on her, and Forgetful gets 2. So much value with this Deadpool in the backline. Gator Fan finds W Boys as well. Yeti finally trades it over to Fortnite Fan, but disastrous start here for the Muskies. They've done so well countering this dive, and the last couple games they just haven't found an answer. I think the answer maybe be Yeti playing that rogue. That's what they did in a previous series against this team, and it worked so well with him marking that backline, but we just haven't seen that swap from the Muskies quite yet.
I think we see, Yeti's just got to get through that front line. He's been playing crazy peel for his supports, and Mantis can't patty cake.
I don't understand. We're taking 2v1s on height for no apparent reason. The Muskies, I think, are kind of panicking here as they're going to have another team wipe. They need to find an angle here. I don't think the triple support's working. They're losing triple support versus 2-2-2. I think they need to swap to their bread and butter and what they're comfortable with, because this just simply isn't working. They need to make an adjustment. They were so good at making that quick adjustment in map one, and just since then it worked. So they're just trying to make this work, and it's just not. It's not hitting the mark. And here, W Boys does have his ultimate online. Elsa has one of her own. We're going to see the Frog invested. It is going to capture a few of the Muskies. 3 will fall, make that 4. And the Muskies are not in a good spot right now. Minute 50 remaining to even try to cap point 1. They have to make an adjustment. They have to find something that's going to work. They just keep beating their head against the wall. And if they do that, they might be heading home.
Yeah, I think we see, I was going to say, I think we see a swap, but
we're not seeing a swap. They're being a bit stubborn right now. They're not wanting to change what they had a game plan going in. And sometimes you just have to be flexible in this game. And typically the Muskies can do that, and that's what's brought them success. But right now they're just not being able to do that. 4 ultimates online for Cornell, only 1 for the side of the Muskies. Soren's going to have to find another one of those huge angles, but make that 5 ults online for Cornell. As here comes Daredevil with his. He's going to pop, but he dies instantly. This could be the angle for the Muskies. Soren is going to have to find something with this Elsa ultimate. Can he make something happen? Let's see if he can find this backline. He's looking to line it up, and he finds all 3. Can they get the kills? They do. The Muskies are still here. They are still in this series. 3 will fall. Make that 4 as they will finally start this cap. They are going to have less time than they would have liked, but this is fine. They finally broke through this Cornell front line.
Yeah. We need to see. Yeah, I was going to say, Deadpool is still in our backline somewhere, so.
They haven't fully capped, but they did! They weren't able to touch, and Deadpool's going to pop the mag ball as well. Soren finds a kill on the way out. Forgetful will fall. Witchings pops the White Fox ultimate, and here come the Muskies. They have to try to make something happen. They have to make an advantage. There's an advantage to be had here, but there are 4 ultimates still online for Cornell. Panatat's the only one that has one for the Muskies. Yeti's coming up on his online. W Boys has his as well. Can they find another angle? They have to really push the pace here because they only have 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 picks come out for the Muskies. Yeti pops the Deadpool ultimate onto the front line. Can he find those picks? The mag ball is invested, and Yeti is creating so much space for his team. This Thor is falling low. Can they find the final damage? And they do. Witchings does find that final kill, and they are going to continue to push Cart. They need more than one person, I think, on Cart, unless I'm mistaken. They need to be pushing Cart faster instead of taking space. They just need to create more space with the Cart down here. As Deadpool is on to Pandatot, she needs assistance from her squad as they finally do drop to help her out here as the front line from the Muskies are still trying to hold off this push from Cornell, and here comes the fight. 3 ults invested from Cornell. Can the Muskies survive this? Banditot's doing what she can to stay alive. Sue Ultimate is doing work right now. It lived through all 3 of those ultimates. Nobody died. This is massive. And here comes W Boys. Sue is going to counter with an ult of her own. He has to stay alive. He cannot die here through this ultimate. Banditots will fall to Fortnite Fan, though, so it is a numbers advantage for Cornell. Down goes Yeti. Fett finds one. Soren's going to trade one to Fortnite Fan, but the Cornell still has the advantage. Etion follows suit. The Muskies need to get out and regroup now with only 1 minute and 15 remaining. No, they don't. 1 minute remains between point 2 and the Muskies having to pull off a hold of a century on their defense. Can the Muskies find an angle here and continue on to point 2 and create more time for themselves to make it a little bit easier for their defense? Or will Cornell continue to hold them at bay? What can the Muskies do? Soren falls low and he dies. He was just playing out way too much out of cover with no assistance. Gator fans finds Panda Tots, and this is going to be disastrous. The Muskies just need to die now so they can regroup and have one more fight, as there was no ultimates even invested from Cornell. Soren was just getting way too aggro and played way too far out of position for no reason. And
Daredevil did ult towards the end, which was...
Daredevil ult was invested. There are going to be 3 ults available here for the Muskies. They have to go. 19 seconds remaining until overtime, and then they cannot leave Cart until they maybe touch point 2 or Cornell holds them. And Cart has already moved all the way back underneath height. This is going to be a very hard push for the Muskies and almost worst case scenario for them heading into this map 5, as they're going to have to make something happen. But Yeti Hat falls early. That is not good. They're going to have to find something. Here comes Soren with the frog. He does find one, but Luna pops the ultimate and going to be able to keep her backline alive. Gator fan finds the kill onto Soren, but Etihan finds a trade onto Happy Boy. There's an angle here for the Muskies with the White Fox ultimate, but here comes Fetch counter frog. Can they kill it before she finds the kills? W-Boys does stay alive with his ultimate. Can he heal through Fortnite fans Thor's hammer? He will. Archie Max falls. Fet finds W-Boys. There's only one support alive here for the Muskies. Make that 2. Panda Tots is going to fall. Gator fan finds the Sioux ultimate. Happy Boys finds Panda Tots. Witchings is going to follow suit. Only 2 tanks remaining for the Muskies, and this is as far as they're going to be able to push the cart. All that stands between them and a semifinals appearance is a massive hold. They have to stand on their head here or they will be heading home.
Yeah, we saw swaps finally towards the end. They were kind of just able to make what they were doing work somehow. I believe it was just because we had a significant ult advantage. But yeah, I think we see the same thing here. Seen some crazier things as the facility is getting loud now. Seen some crazier things on this map than a full hold. So as we get started here, I think we see Witchings is going to switch to the Loki. We see W-Boys sticking with the Ultron.
And I don't know. I don't know if the triple support's working. It worked in the first map, but since then they just haven't had success. And the 2-2-2 of Cornell has proved to just be so much stronger, because they were playing triple support first and it wasn't working. They swapped off, and Lakeland has just been maybe a bit stubborn, and here's the Hella swap. This might be what the Muskies need to make something happen. Phoenix is offline, as I know that is one of Soren's favorite characters to play on this map. They have had great holds on this first point before. They need the best hold of their season to date if they want to punch their ticket to the semis and join the Valorant team next week to have a chance to play for a national championship the following week. Or will they head home? 4 seniors on this roster I guarantee you will be doing everything they possibly can to stay alive here in this tournament. 3 minutes and 45 seconds remain and stand between the Muskies and a semifinals appearance, or will Cornell be able to push past and be able to punch their ticket and finally get the best of Lakeland in a best of 5? Daredevil will fall first, but Archie Max does trade it onto Panda Tots, so that's a support down for the Muskies. And again, they're not running triple, so there's only Loki heals remaining as Cornell does have 2 supports up. This is going to be tough for the Muskies to do something here, as Penny's going to fall very, very shortly after, and the Muskies are going to be in a hard position here as they're just going to lose the initial fight, and that might mean Cornell is going to have so much time just to push underneath that height. W-Boys does find the kill, but 2 more fall for the Muskies, and this is going to be really, really difficult, folks. 3 minutes. They're going to have over 5 minutes to push only halfway through the first point to send themselves to the semis.
Yeah, we'll see Ichihan. He swaps to the Venom to try and get a touch, but we're just going to give that up, so...
Okay, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and they have to hold. They have to hold so far. This would be the hold of a century from the Muskies to stay alive in this tournament, or Cornell will punch their ticket to the semifinals. It looked so good and so promising at the start of the series, and it has gone downhill since then. Pandatats is falling low. The Daredevils doing so much work in the back line here. Can they help? Oh, and it sounds like we maybe have a game crash at the most detrimental time possible. This might absolutely spell. This might end the Muskies season here and now, as we did lose a DPS here in a crash, and W Boys will fall because he is out of the game. And looks like the Gator fan will invest to ultimate. They are still fighting, trying to do anything. They're going to try to pause here, but with the death timers, I don't think they're going to be able to stay into this.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They get back in time.
I don't think they don't have Strange Portal. I don't think they get back in time. This might be the end of the Muskie season here.
Yeah, most inopportune time for a game crash, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, and but it was the first hold. They couldn't win the first fight.
Yeah, they needed to win that.
They were playing so well in this series, and then for whatever reason, they got a little stubborn with that triple support and played it for too long, and it's gonna cause them to fall out of this tournament. It looks like.
Yeah. I mean, I believe they still have time to touch.
They should be able to touch, but Yeti and Etihan are both at 8-second timers, and Cornell is only about 45-50 meters away.
I think W Boys has a touch whenever
W Boys maybe
he does
has to even
return,
swap to Venom,
like Spider-Man, something to get there quick.
I think maybe even swap triple tank and just try to stay alive. They've done that in the past and stood on their heads for holds like this. That might be something that they have to do, but two huge ultimates coming out from the side of Cornell here that could just end the game once they get to point.
But I mean, little bright side on the fact that the game crash gives you time to talk about what you're doing right now. You have a little bit of time to have a communication of like, this is how we want to go about this, because we have 40 meters, maybe. I'm not really sure.
The issue is Cornell's already so close. The spawn for the Muskies is further away than Cornell, and they need to touch and hold for over 4 minutes. Yeah. They have to win probably 4 to 5 fights at least.
At least 4 fights. Full team fights, that is.
Correct. The Muskies not being able to get to that point, too, is just so detrimental. It looked so good after that first push when they finally cracked open, but they just have looked disjointed in these last couple games in this series here, and a little out of sorts. They've been playing so good up to this point.
They've done a great job of targeting Daredevil. Is like the second he touches our backline, everyone turned. And then we got to the point of like, okay, we can handle this as just 2 supports now. And people stopped turning, and it was just wasting enough time.
Yep. So we're going to have to see. Sounds like W Boys might be back in lobby here shortly. He's going to have to try to touch, like you said, Venom,
Spider-Man.
Something. It's probably got to be a Venom because he has to live. He has to stay alive. If he dies, it's a 5v6, and then it's over.
I mean, if he's able to get Spider-Man, he can stall point for.
But Venom might be able to stall longer with.
It's just if you spawn, like, honestly, you'd rather just stall for that time and die, so you have the opportunity to swap and get back just
so the
quick.
rest of the team can get there, and then you can get.
Your goal is to stay alive until everyone on your team is on their way back.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see if the Muskies can even touch, or if Cornell will just send themselves to the semifinals here and now. No matter the result, an absolute incredible season from the Muskies, battling through the regular season to even make to the playoffs in the first place, beating this team here and now in a game 6 to send themselves to the playoffs, and then facing this team again in the playoffs and beating them a second time to send themselves to the conference finals, unfortunately falling in that match to Minnesota, and then being able to come into this tournament as a 3 seed, as one of the favored teams in this tournament, and being able to showcase their abilities in the round of 16, and now they have their backs against the wall here in Game 5 of the quarterfinals.
Yeah, you get to nationals. I mean, there is obviously still seeds. You're ranked 1 through 16, but to make nationals, you have to be able to play. And the difference between 1 and 16 seeds in this nationals versus, let's say, I don't know, March Madness, for example. Every team is very evenly matched, as we saw even in last week's game, in this game right here. And with with grace to our Valorant team. They just roll everyone 2-0, 2-0, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this tournament is very, very close.
yeah,
Team's still deliberating on what they're going to do, because I think W Boys game is still working on getting back into the lobby.
yeah,
We're going to have to see what the Muskies can do. If they're able to stand on their head here and somehow force a
overtime.
hold, this could be the clip of a century. But here we go.
Yeah.
We are back into game. The Cornell is starting to push, and they are going to get so close here. And the swap is going to come out, but they're not going to get there in time. And Cornell is going to punch their ticket to the semifinals here. And the Muskies will fall out of the national bracket here in a Game 5, unfortunately. And their season ends here.
Yeah, it's still, like we said during timeout, we got a little bit of time, I guess, to talk about how everything was going. So,
took too long.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like we were saying this season, or during our pause there, a great season overall. Like you said, mentioning, like, they needed to win the last week to even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
To come into the playoffs as the 8th seed and make it to the 8th seed out of 8 teams and make it to conference championship.
Yep.
And then, yeah, coming into the nationals where you can either play teams you've played multiple times or teams you haven't played at all.
Yep.
And, yeah, I mean, like anything, beating a team
Three times
is
very,
impossible.
very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And just kind of an unlucky draw for the Muskies, having to play them yet again in the quarterfinals. That really should have been a matchup in the semis, even maybe a national championship matchup, as these teams were so evenly matched.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Muskies could not get the best of Cornell for a third time. They will fall out of this national bracket tournament in a Game 5 here. But an absolute incredible season for the Muskies, and an incredible career here for 4 seniors there on the stage, doing so much work to help build this program, doing so much work to help create what we have today here in the Fishbowl. So much culture and so much family feel here from a big part of it is 4 of those individuals on the stage there that'll be graduating here in a couple weeks. So a huge shout out to what they have been able to do and what they've been able to help build here and help me as a coach create the culture that we're looking for. So while this hurts tonight, it's going to be something that they're going to be able to look back fondly on in the long run. And the Muskies still aren't done quite yet. We still do have Valorant next week, so please stay tuned for them and cheer them on best you can, as there's still a couple seniors left on that roster that are still trying to make the nationals.
2 of the seniors we see tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
continuing to play next
Ethan
week
and
into Val.
still continuing next week for Val, hunting another championship ring. But Rivals ends tonight, unfortunately, in a way that we did not expect, a way that we did not want this season to end. But this is where we'll send you guys off. Stay tuned for some more Valorant action coming at you next week. And then we will be, depending on how far Valorant goes, we'll see you guys next semester with a brand new squad, brand new faces, brand new games, and a lot more streams to come. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys next Monday.